Hey, what's up guys? I've got something very special for you here today. I've recorded my very first ever podcast. It's with my good friend Aidan, who's been on this channel a couple times before. He's been training naturally for over 9 years. He's very strong, very jacked, and very knowledgeable. So I thought he would be the perfect guy to have on for my first podcast. Listen, neither of us have ever done a podcast before, so I would very much appreciate your feedback. Please let me know if you enjoyed it, if you thought it was boring, if you thought it was entertaining. Please be honest. Also, if you have any suggestions for how we could improve it. If I get a good response, then we could make this a regular thing. I'm happy to have Aidan on as a co-host, and we could bring in other guests to join us. So please let me know your feedback and enjoy the podcast. It's a casual conversation between friends, so don't take anything we say too seriously. And yeah, that's about it for the intro. Enjoy it, and please let me know what you think. All right, see ya. Welcome everyone to the very first Natty Talk podcast with Aidan Insua, where we talk shit about the fitness industry. So Aidan, give us your absolutely most spicy take on the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Okay. So this is something I've noticed recently. There are new lifters who they come across someone like natural hypertrophy, which nothing against him, gives out good information. But now these kids watch like 10 of his videos and they think they know everything he knows from his 10 years of experience. And then they start teaching everyone else the little bit they know. It's like, bro, just send them a link to natural hypertrophy.
Aidan, I feel personally attacked, and your words are very hurtful.
It's totally
to me.
not against him.
But
it's literally
I will say
not.
that reminds me of this one guy I saw who I think I sent him to you, but it was this guy who was like on juice, openly admitting that he's on juice, but like he looked like very unimpressive. And then on his TikTok, he was giving these teenagers advice for how to get on juice. And in his comments, he was like, one of the guys asked him like, what do you recommend for my first cycle? And the guy replied, you should go watch at least 15 more plates, more dates videos before you make a decision. And
then you have a degree in anabolics.
Yeah.
No, I've watched a lot of more plates, more dates, and since I have no experience with steroids, I don't know shit about them. But even if I did use steroids for a few months, like would that now give me the right to go teach everyone else? That's kind of how I feel about the people that watch NH. They go, oh, this makes sense. Oh, okay. And then 3 months in, they think they know everything he knows. I don't know. It's just the Dunning-Kruger effect.
I don't know. You look way too big to be natty. Can you defend your natural status?
Yeah, this is my defense. This is my shield.
Look at this mountain.
No, it's just angles. It's just angles.
It's all fake news.
But
I'm actually bigger than Aidan, guys. He's not that big.
This is a 12-inch
arm. If you guys saw
arm.
us in person.
and I can only OHP the bar for 10.
Yeah, look at that sneaky delt vein popping out there. And this guy has the audacity to tell me that he doesn't have vascularity anymore.
It's like literally all right there, and then it just fades off. Then the forearm.
Bro, how do you have more vascularity in your delt than you do in your bicep?
I don't know. Even when I was like super fat, bro, like I had nothing here, and then I had the delt vein, and then this side. I mean, I can't get in the light, can I? This side had like a curly one. Yeah, it's kind of there. But that one never went away, even though this one kind of started to go away.
This is on a bulk, folks. This is Aidan on a bulk.
I still got 10 pounds to go.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so back to the spicy fitness takes. Surely you had another one. What's next after the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Or
is that all you had?
Next spicy take is I need to train my neck because look at this. This is sad.
The pencil neck bros unite.
Oh.
Yeah. We both need to train our necks. You know, I was watching Jeffrey Verity Schofield just earlier, and the dude has a fucking thick ass neck. I don't know if you saw.
Does he really?
Like, yeah, he was like shaved, like I don't know, he shaved his beard or something, and he was showing his neck. Bro, the guy looked like Mike Tyson or something.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
I had no idea his neck was so thick.
I wonder
So,
if it's
Aidan,
I wonder if it's because he's up to 220 or if like he's been training his neck or something. Cause he's a heavy dude, bro. Like I'm 195, so if I was 220, I would be way bigger. No, I'm kidding.
so if you were 220, then you know your
If
neck
I was
would
220, I would be fat.
Yeah, wouldn't we all? So,
Except him.
why aren't you training your neck, Aidan?
I
Why
have
are
a
you...
whole neck training station right there. I just literally I forget. That's the only reason. Like
What
every,
about your calves, Aidan?
they're just small, and we can just like skip that topic.
Okay, don't talk about calves.
No, but honestly, like we don't have a seated calf machine at my gym, so I'm basically like only able to do like leg press calf extensions, and
Uh-huh.
I feel like those just suck. I don't know.
Well, you gotta do that one, you know, have you seen that photo where Arnold has like Franco Columbo and like some other guy like sitting on his back while he's
Get a couple of my gym bros to help me out.
Yeah, you need to get a couple gym bros to sit on you while you do your calf raises.
I wonder if that's like the only way to stimulate your calves, and that's why all our calves are small.
Yeah,
I
the
swear,
only
bro.
way
There's
to
something we're
stimulate
missing, so if it's that, let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments if you're willing to travel to our locations and
Just jump on
sit
our back.
backs while we do calf raises
It's for the greater
3
good.
times a week.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna need some more spicy takes. What do you
Spicy
think about all
takes.
these TikTokers getting on juice, Aidan? Is it inspiring?
Is it inspiring? No.
It doesn't
It
inspire
kind of
me.
it's just not even on my radar. Like, you know, if someone sends me something like that, it's just like, okay, if they have something else to add other than just like showing their physique, then like I got no problem watching someone who takes steroids, you know, like if they're actually entertaining. But if it's like just seeing the physique and they're like, oh, look how I look, it's like, okay, well, I can't relate because I'm not doing 99% of the stuff they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if we
Yeah.
trained the same, like the difference would be so huge that there's just no point in me looking at that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just such a great message that they're putting out there, you know, that we need all the teenagers getting on juice as early as possible. That is
Yep.
my official statement.
And I mean that too with like only the kind of like the TikTok teenager thing, right? Obviously there's guys on juice that know way more than me about programming and all that. I'll listen to those people, the people that genuinely know their stuff, but like if it's just some teenager that's like barely bigger than me because he's been on trend for like 6 months, it's like, what am I going to gain
Yeah.
from watching that?
But you see so many like steroid users that just give absolutely horrendous advice. Like it's just so obvious that their gains are coming not from their like intelligent training and you know their excuse me, their gains are just coming from the drugs they're taking, right? And then
Yep.
they're just spreading their information online as if what works for them will work for everyone else.
Have you
But,
seen
you
the
know,
ones where it's like it's like bicep workout and it's like 4 sets of 12 spider curls, 4 sets of 12 hammer curls, 4 sets of 12 preacher curls, and it's like 30 sets of 12. It's like, bro.
you gotta mature the muscle, bro. You gotta get the pump.
It's like I love getting a pump, but my God. I think after like
High reps ain't
8
just for steroid users.
I think after 8 sets of a muscle, it's like, all right, what are we doing here? And dude, by the nature of it, like, no way all of those sets are anywhere near failure. Because if they were, Snap City.
Yeah, Snap City, bro. No, absolutely. And I mean, you know, it's easy when you literally have anabolic steroids like running through your blood, then all you need to do is to get a pump and just send as much blood as possible for as long as possible into your muscle, and your muscle is gonna grow, right?
Yeah,
But if
even
you're
Rich
natural
Piana
and
talked
the
about it,
pump
bro.
doesn't do much for you. Yeah,
Like,
you gotta expand the fascia, bro.
dude, and I like watching Rich Piana because he was entertaining. And but yeah, some of the stuff he says, he'd just be like, "Oh, just get a pump, and that's all that fucking matters." It's like maybe for you, but not for me.
Yeah.
I love the guy though. I mean, rip, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a big difference in the things that enhanced lifters can get away with. Like they can get away with just absolutely shitty training techniques and shitty programming and no intensity and just fluff and just going for a pump. And
yep.
yet, and they can preach that. They can preach that to naturals, and naturals can go try it for years and years and get absolutely nowhere
If you want
because they
another
don't
hot
have the
take,
secret ingredient. Yes, lay
another
it
hot
on me.
take is there are some natural people that are so genetically gifted that they can also get away with that.
Yeah,
And there might be some guys that you might think are fake natties because they preach like a similar training style to those guys, but their genetics are so good that like they would obviously look a lot better if they trained perfectly, but they still look really good just genetically. And then they train like that and they think, "Oh, that's what got me this." And
yeah.
then
I
they
mean,
teach
there's
everybody
probably got to
that.
be. Yeah, yeah. I
Cuz
mean,
bro,
at the
there's
end of the
people on
day,
roids that don't look like they're on roids. Like it happens.
definitely, yeah. And there's definitely naturals that look like they're on roids, you know? But
Yep.
I think as like a more like a general statement, if someone is an advanced natural lifter, like they have a really impressive physique, usually they're going to be like very knowledgeable and be doing things, you know, quite sensibly. I mean, obviously you have like the genetic freak outliers,
Mm.
but in general, like you get an advanced natural lifter, they're gonna know their shit. Whereas you get someone who's on the sauce and they look like they're advanced, like they have an advanced physique,
Mhm.
but their knowledge doesn't need to keep up with them at all because their stimulus is coming from the drugs. It's not coming from their training principles, right?
Yep. I mean, believe it or not, too, I've seen natural dudes that they have maybe under a year of training under their belt and they max out all the time and they just do all kinds of things that you wouldn't do if you were maximizing hypertrophy and they look advanced too. So,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, it just goes to show that
genetics go
you can't.
so far into this. I mean, I think anyone can build like a really good physique given enough time, but like there's people that they look bigger than me in 1 year, you know, and like I'm not afraid to admit it because I've seen it so many times.
But like a long enough period of time, surely the smart natural, even like a smart natural with not the best genetics. Well, let me put it to you this way. Like, do you think if you give someone like a 10-year period to train perfectly and they're starting with like suboptimal genetics,
Mm.
like maybe bottom half genetics, do you think they would be able to overtake someone who is just training like an idiot but has absolutely elite genetics? Like, does that make sense?
That
Like
makes sense.
someone who has elite genetics, they train for 10 years but shitty with shitty training principles. Do you think someone with like bottom half genetics who is training perfectly for 10 years, do you think he can overtake that elite guy? Or do you think genetics are like more important even on that long of a time frame?
I would say it depends on how shitty the elite genetic person is training. Like if they're training like absolute crap, they're gonna get injured within 10 years and they're gonna be out
Yeah.
completely. But if they're just kind of like going hard, like Unga Bunga mode, you know, and they're not like thinking about their programming and stuff, but they still have the intention, I think that
Yeah.
they might end up edging out the very methodical natural, or not natural because they're both natural, but the more
Yeah.
methodical of the two. It just depends.
With
Like, but a
worse
lot of those
genetics.
people they
Yeah.
train so badly that they get injured. And I used to be like that too. Like, I got I pulled my pec doing Smolov Junior that like 4 times per week, like 10 sets of 3 bench shit. I pulled my pec when I was like 18, and then I think, some people get those injuries in the beginning, and then it like kind of leads you to go, okay, I can't be doing whatever I find on the internet. Let me like listen to my body, because I was feeling it before that day, and then just luckily it didn't tear, but something popped. And I was like the guy with okay genetics that was training stupid. But then now I think I know a decent amount now. But can I edge out some people? I don't know.
Yeah. I think the Unga Bunga training, like just the fact, like just training hard can get you really far, right? Like
100%.
I always go on about programming and how important I think programming is, but there's absolutely no substitute for like just training hard. And if you're just training hard and really like putting your back into it every session, like you're out for blood, even if you don't exactly know what you're doing, as long as you don't get injured. I mean, if you get some catastrophic injury, obviously you're going to be
all
out.
Nullified.
Then it's all ogre. But if you can not get injured and you just train really damn hard and you train all of your muscles, I mean, that's going to get you pretty far. It's not as good as training hard and having good programming.
Yeah.
But someone who has absolutely perfect programming and stays up to date with the latest literature, reads all the literature. Someone who reads all the literature and does everything perfect, but every set they do has like 8 reps in reserve. You get some Unga Bunga guy who just comes and Unga Bungas his way through a workout, going to failure every time, even if his form isn't perfect and his programming isn't perfect and his recovery isn't perfect, and he doesn't take all the powders and all the pills and whatever. He's still going to get bigger than the other guy who's
Agreed.
got every scientific study in his brain. But if you don't train hard enough, it's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you want another hot take, I think people overemphasizing their rep quality is a bit of an issue that I've seen. Like, I've seen it in person too. Like someone will do a set of 10 where they have 10 reps in reserve and be like, oh, like I could have done this, I could have pointed this, I could have done that. And it's like, bro, your form was perfect. Like, what are you worried about? Like, I don't know if they're worried about getting injured or they're just trying to like avoid pushing hard just because it's hard, but like, I see some people and I'm like, I just want to see I want to see what failure looks like for you. Because I don't think you're getting there,
Yeah.
But
no, for sure.
I've seen that, it 5 times online in the past couple days, like just scrolling through. I'm like, what is this set?
Yeah. You see that so often, like online, as you say, and in person. I've seen it so many times as well. Where you want someone to push themselves, and they're like, oh, I couldn't have done any more. But you're looking at them, and the bar is moving just as fast on the last rep as it was on the first rep. They're not breathing heavy. They didn't break a sweat. It was
their
like no effort whatsoever. Their face didn't turn into a tomato.
Yeah.
They didn't shake. They didn't.
You need at least one of those signs.
You need one of those at least.
Preferably most of them.
Yeah, all of them. But no, for sure, that you see that so often, and people lie to themselves. They'll be like, "Oh, I left 1 rep in the tank." No, man, you left like fucking 12 reps in the tank.
Speaking of that, I used to do chest flies, and I would do like sets of 10 to 12, right? And I would just kind of stop when it felt like, okay, I maybe had 2 reps in the tank. I started taking them just to see, to actual failure, and like a 10 rep set would turn into like a 19 rep set.
Yeah.
And I was just oh my God. So I was RPE 2 that whole time, and I thought it was RPE 9.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a very important thing for beginners to learn is failure. Like, actually take an exercise which is safe or where you have a spotter or whatever, and go to failure and see what that feels like. See what your body feels like.
Feels good.
And what it looks like for you to actually take a rep or take a set to the point where you cannot do another rep, where they put a gun to your entire family's head and you'd have to say
Whoa,
goodbye
man.
to your family. That's how hard you have
Bro's
to
really
train
going there.
people.
Yeah.
No, but
Honestly, I couldn't put
people
myself through that on every
stop
set.
Yeah, not every set, but I mean,
Yeah.
you
Do it at
need,
least
like,
once.
for at least once, and on a safe exercise, you just need to know what that feels like, because if you're a beginner, you cannot judge your RPE as well as you think you can. If you've never failed before and you think you're going 2 reps away from failure, you might be going 5 reps, 10 reps or more away from failure. I had a buddy who we had this very similar conversation with him. He was kind of new to the gym, and he was, trying to improve his bench press and stuff. And he was doing like sets of 10, and he would never actually go to failure. Like, he didn't really understand the concept of, RPE and going to failure. And so, I was trying to give him some tips so he could get more results from his training. And so I told him, next time you bench, actually bench to the point where you can't bench no more. Don't just stop the set when it gets difficult. Like, stop the set when you can't do another rep. And then the next time we talked, he told me that he got like 23 reps or something. So he was training like 13 reps in reserve for months. And you don't get many results from that. But people, you could do a 13 rep in reserve set, and it can feel challenging to you because you're completely new to holding a barbell. You're not
even in the advanced stage, man. Like, if I had, let me see, what can I do for 23 on bench? If I had like 195 or something, doing 12 reps, like, I can't just do that without bracing and like trying to move the weight. So like, it's still going to be relatively tough to do 12. It's not going to look tough and all that, but like, compared to,
you can't stop a set when it starts being challenging, right?
And there's certain exercises that like they get challenging like right from the beginning. Like I've been doing lateral raises, like leaned on the thing. That and spider curls, for some reason, when I get to like rep 8 out of like 18 reps, I'm already like grunting on every rep. So if I thought, it's kind of hard, so I have 2 more left, I'd be doing sets of 10 when I have 18 reps. So
yeah. Well, for me, the biggest one I notice it on definitely is the squats. Like, I'm usually squatting like between 4 to 8 reps. That's the rep range I'm using now. And so, my set will be like 6 reps or something. Yeah. And, I'm just holding the bar here, and I'm scared, bro. Like, I'm scared to bend my knees. And the first rep is already extremely difficult. And I have to do another 5 after it,
Yeah.
So if I stopped when it was difficult, I wouldn't do a single rep, right? But, you got to end up doing 6. So, yeah, that's definitely...
and on stuff like squats too, like something you can only do for 6 to 8 is pretty freaking heavy.
Absolutely, yeah. But where this all started from is the form degradation in terms of like getting to failure. Like you were saying, how absolutely perfect form could maybe be holding you back from not pushing yourself to the max. And I think definitely someone who's too anal about their form is not going to let themselves push close enough to failure. It's inevitable that if you're training hard enough, at some point there will be something in your form which is not going to be absolutely textbook, or where the last rep doesn't look quite as good as the first rep. But it's not something you can avoid entirely if you're actually committed to training hard, right?
Yeah. You just got to do your best to keep it as good as you can, but I mean, on hard sets, like, stuff's gonna happen,
Yeah.
You're gonna, maybe when you curl, you cheat a tiny bit. It's like, see, that's the thing I'm talking about. Like, if you're benching and like your elbows go like all the way out to there, maybe that's not something you want to let happen. But if you start like, your glutes come up like a tiny bit, it's like, don't freak out and think you need to drop a plate off the bar and relearn your whole form. Just like, don't worry so much about it.
Yeah,
unless you're a competitive powerlifter, then worry about it, because if your glutes come off like this much, your lift doesn't count. But if you're bodybuilding, put that on the back burner. Worry about it with like 2% of your brain power.
If anyone's ever seen Jeffrey Verity Schofield training, you know, this guy's an absolute monster of a
Dude.
man. And you watch his videos, you know, that they're not pretty reps. They are not pretty. But, you know, it gets the job done. The guy's still alive, you know, he's still around. He hasn't broken his body yet.
And his
he's
form,
absolutely massive.
his form is still good when he gets to that point. Like, I think it's more like he starts giving himself a little momentum or a little bit of a cheat, but it's not like he's taking things into the wrong plane of existence, you know, like
Right.
he's still
But
keeping himself tight, you know.
a perfectionist would see that and say, oh, you know, it's so dangerous. You can't be doing that. You know, it's horrible for him. You're not even using the correct muscles. You know, what are you doing, right? But
then you
know,
say
that
post
guy's-
physique, and then
you say
their argument's
say
invalid.
post physique is the correct response to pretty much every online argument. Like, cool story, bro, but post physique.
Yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter, so.
Okay, so speaking
This is
of
weird.
lovers, do you think bodybuilding is gay?
No. No.
Okay, what about the 200 comments I've gotten in over the last month calling me gay for making videos about bodybuilding?
I think they're coping with some deep insecurities. Maybe they wish they looked like those guys, and they feel some sort of disconnect when they see it, and they like it, and they're like, why do I like this? It's like, bro, you want to be them. You don't want to fuck them. You want to be them. It's okay. And even if you did want to fuck, I mean, it's like, hey, it's 2022. Do whatever you want.
Absolutely. You know, I find it so funny how you still have people using gay as like an insult, you know, like as if we're like 13-year-old middle schoolers, right? Like even if bodybuilding is gay, so what? Like what's if Aidan and I are gay, what's wrong with that? You know, if we bodybuild because we're gay, is that like a scandalous thing?
I have
like,
no idea.
you know, should we it's just such a stupid argument, you know? Like, even if it is gay, so what? Like, is gay bad? Like, it's guys, it's the 21st
like,
century, you know?
Bro, you have a girlfriend, but like you bodybuild, so you're gay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gay, definitely. Yeah, it's been decided. Surely there's some more spicy takes hiding behind that forehead of yours, Aidan.
Spicy take. My tricep genetics. They just grow and grow and grow, but my biceps just, they don't grow.
Aidan is an absolutely tricep dominant man.
Like tricep and delt, and then my biceps just like meh. I'm trying to work on my chest too, so there's a lot to work on. That's another hot take. No matter how long you've been lifting, there's always something you're gonna not like that you're gonna want to work on.
Yeah. I mean, even Chris Bumstead has like shitty arms, right?
Shitty arms. Like,
yeah, I mean,
no. But yeah, no, but it's funny that you say that because normal people will look at that and be like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
But
like if
when you
Chris
do compare
Bumstead's
him,
arms...
if you do compare him to other guys in his class and all that, you can actually see what they're saying, and it's like, shit, well, if his arms are shit, then I should just stop. I'm done.
Yeah. Like, if you take Chris Bumstead's arms and put it on you or I or anyone else that we know, we'd be like, oh my god, look at this freaky guy with his freaky arms.
I would look like Popeye.
But, but they're on Chris Bumstead, and it's like, yeah, your arms are kind of lagging, bro. Like, I know you're Mr. Olympia, but
lagging body part.
You could definitely work on that.
Those arms are mid personality.
No, I'm trolling. I do think that Bumstead is a nice guy. I'm just being a dick on here, but he is a pretty cool guy. I'll give him that.
So he's gonna get off steroids potentially if he stops competing, because he's probably gonna be like, I don't need to do this. Like, I watch James English, like whether he's taking stuff or not, like I'm gonna watch his videos because I've seen his channel blow up from when he started, you know, and I knew him back in the day. But if he ever decided to get off, maybe some like hardcore people would be like, oh, no, he's a pussy, but it's like, he's still him, like he's still James English, so I'm still gonna watch. You know, same with Larry Wheels, like he's onto that like lower dose, and like a lot of people are saying like, oh, he quit. It's like, dude, he's still making content. He's trying to be healthier. Like, why are you gonna like act like that's the wrong move?
Hasn't Larry Wheels been on steroids since he was like 16 or something?
Yeah, he has, and
I mean, what, he's in like his mid-20s now?
Yeah, and I personally think he's entertaining to watch and stuff. So, I mean, when I heard he was getting off, same with Pete Rubish, like he completely got off, and all his markers are good now. And even Pete would still admit like he doesn't know how much of his life he took off from all the stuff he did, but it's better than continuing to do it, And then if you get off and then you spread the message that, hey, like I feel better off and I'm still enjoying lifting, it's like that's gonna help people.
Absolutely.
Because undoubtedly there's some people that get on just out of insecurity, thinking that they're not impressive enough or they're not big enough or whatever, but like.
Yeah, and once you have a big enough social media following that you're actually like making a fantastic living off of it, and you actually have people that are following you for your personality and not just for your physique, then why would you continue to be like damaging your body when you can, keep that fan base, keep making your money, keep running your business, and just actually focus on regaining your health,
Yeah, and that's why a lot of those guys eventually get off, the ones that care about that, and they see like in the industry, they see all the other people that they love just dropping dead, and it's like, eventually I think that's what Pete Rubish said. It made him think, and he was like, I think he turned 30 and he's like, all right, I'm just done.
No, that's the thing. I mean, if you don't get off, what's the alternative? You get off or you just cycle your way into the grave, right? Like that. When you see these guys who are in their 40s, their late 40s, and they're still, blasting, and they're still absolutely massive, like, what's going to come of that? How much time do you have left? You got another 5 years left? You got 10 years?
I don't know, and honestly, like
you don't see...
It's honestly just a little bit sad,
guys in their 50s.
Not that massive. You do see massive guys, but you don't see, like, 300-pound shredded guys, right? But eventually they all try to downsize.
Drug addiction. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I don't think of it as like some people think of it as like a moral thing, like, oh, they're cheating and this and that, and like, I don't know. I can see what they mean by that, but I just genuinely I don't care because I'm not comparing myself to them. I just see it more of like, I wish they wouldn't do that so that they can be around longer, especially if I'm friends with someone who happens to be on stuff. It's like, dude, we don't need you doing that. Like, we want you to be around for your kids,
Truly, I mean, if you see someone who's just absolutely freakishly massive in their 40s or any age, really, I mean, you got to treat that like the same way you treat an alcoholic or, a heroin addict or something. Like, you're putting your life on the line, man. I mean, if you got a family and stuff, you got people that care about you. I mean, don't you want to be around, to see your kids grow up or whatever, if you have kids? I mean, it's just so sad. And for what? For what? To get even bigger, I mean, it makes absolutely no sense.
I mean, you can. I mean,
why people would give up their lives for gains, right? When you already are just freakishly massive.
The thing is, it makes sense, but it doesn't make it right. Like, I can see how someone can get like, they start like snowballing into this, and then they think, oh fuck, like if they get off just a little bit, they're like, oh, now I'm shrinking, now I'm small, I don't look as good as I used to look. And then people around them might feed into that. Like, normal people who don't think about this deeply like us, they go, oh man, you looked really good. Like say it's some guy my height. Say it's some guy my height and he was like 220 at like 10% body fat. They're like, oh man, you look amazing, blah blah. Your diet must be so good and all this. And then maybe they get off and now they're like a soft like 200, or like they just have like 15% body fat. They don't look as insane. People are probably gonna put pressure on them to get back on what they were doing. They just don't know how much shit they were doing. They might think, oh, like he got off his diet. It's like, I've seen it on TikTok too. Like, a guy will clearly hop off gear or just get off cycle or whatever, and everyone's like, bro, you fell off, bro. It's like, okay, well, now he's going to survive longer. So I think he's doing good.
Yeah, that's sad, man. That's so sad. The whole like culture around steroids is just horrendous, and there's so little like knowledge about it, in the mainstream. Like people will see these like massive shredded guys, maybe not like the Mr. Olympia open bodybuilding level, because I think even the general public like understands that that's not good, and like they don't relate to that.
Yeah.
But even when you have these like 230-pound 10% body fat people, who are absolute like compared to any natural bodybuilder are just absolutely ridiculously huge and shredded. But to the average layman, they look at them and they think that this is just a health icon, right? Like, look how healthy this person is. He probably just lives on chicken and broccoli. He must be the healthiest person in the world to look so amazing, and they don't know what's going on in the background, how they actually got that big.
Yep, it's usually those guys that they kind of get away with claiming natural because they don't look like a Mr. Olympia. Like those guys, they know they can't. It's like they look so insane that they can't even get away with that. But some guy who's like, 220, 230 shredded, he's like, oh, well, I'm not as big as those guys. It's like, dude.
You do keep some of the muscle, right? Do you think you keep some of the muscle that you built on cycle, or does it all go away?
I don't know, man, because like I said, Pete Rubish, one of the guys I like watching a lot, he used to be like really lean, 245, 255, something like that. And now he's like 220 and in my opinion doesn't look that huge. Could be the clothes he wears too. He wears like really big shirts and stuff. And he was blasting Trend. Like he would openly talk about all the stuff he did, and it doesn't seem like he has any advantage now over a natural person. And I think he is actually going to compete. I don't know when, but they're going to test him, make sure all his levels are, low enough that he's like natural, I guess. But he honestly, man, like there's natural guys that are stronger than him at this point now. When he was on stuff, there were no like natural guys at his weight pulling 920 on a deadlift. Like that's just that just hasn't happened yet. But now I think he's going to go for like 700. He's like working his way back up to 700 because he did hit 700 in the past naturally, but he hasn't even gotten to that yet. So I don't think he kept a bunch of his gains from the steroids, if any.
Right. So, but he's like a purely power lifter, right? Like he doesn't do bodybuilding.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did a lot of, not a lot, but he did some bodybuilding accessories and stuff. I don't know if he's still doing that. He might not still be doing that, and that might be why. But
right.
I mean, just like muscle just staying for no reason because you used to take steroids. I don't really think that's the case.
Yeah, it's crazy how like people who don't even bodybuild, but they just take steroids and they do some other sport. Like, I mean, powerlifting is kind of close to bodybuilding, but you have like other stuff like, gymnastics and CrossFit and stuff that really doesn't have much to do at all with bodybuilding. You have these CrossFit people. I mean, they train endurance pretty much is what they train for. It's not not at all a hypertrophy focused training. But you got some of these top level CrossFit guys who are taking gear, and I mean they look like better than the vast majority of natural bodybuilders out there. So it's just crazy how much the drugs can help, even if you're not trying to get jacked, you're just trying to get good at a sport, but you have that chemical help, and you end up looking way better than someone who's dedicating their entire lives to getting jacked naturally, right?
Yep. I mean, yeah, that's insane, man. Even just TRT does a ton, I mean, especially if someone's got a genetic response to gear and stuff, and like they blow up from like. Have you ever seen Nick Walker?
Yeah, with his crazy calf varicose veins.
Yeah. So did you see how he looked before when he was natural?
Yeah,
I mean,
I've seen it.
Bro, I don't understand. Like he had like the worst natural genetics. But I guess for getting as big as possible on gear, his body was just like, let's do that. So now he's like, he's probably like 300 pounds now.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, I suppose the biggest factor for getting that big has got to be like how well you tolerate the steroids and how well you tolerate the side effects, right? Because surely they like to get to that size, no matter how good your genetics are, you've got to be blasting some doses that a lot of people simply would not be able to handle. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
would have side effects so serious that you would not be able to train, live, sleep, right? But you've got some people that just handle it genetically, like handle the gear to the point where they can blast doses way higher than anyone else and just get way bigger than everyone else, right?
And a lot of the guys who have good genetics for it, like they can take way less gear and they get more
Yeah,
potency off a small amount because they
right.
respond well to it. So they can take like 200 milligrams of test as like a TRT dose and they put on like 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, and
So, I
probably a
mean,
combination of the two is what you find on these mass
yeah,
monsters
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. I got another spicy take here. TRT, I'm sick of people calling TRT like basically natural or you're
it's
just
definitely not.
you're just using TRT to get your hormones to like a normal level, man. Like,
Yeah.
Greg Doucette, he's not on steroids, man. He's just on TRT. Like, come on. I hate it when people downplay like how effective steroids are, and
Yeah.
even just TRT is incredibly effective compared to a natural. Like it it's not just the dose, but like actually how your testosterone is always at the same level, right? It doesn't matter if you had a shit day. It doesn't matter if you're depressed. It doesn't matter if you didn't sleep. As a natural, if any of those things happen to you, you're not eating enough, you don't sleep, whatever things are happening going on in your life, your
Mhm.
testosterone is going to crash. And even just during the day, it goes up and goes down naturally, right? These are things a natural human being has to deal with. But if you're
Yeah.
constantly shooting up testosterone up your butt, then your testosterone levels are always going to be perfect, right? No
Yeah.
matter what's going on in your life, no matter what factors are happening in your life, you're always going to have that perfect testosterone. And and
Yeah.
that level of you can't equate the dose to like a natural testosterone. It's just not the same, It helps way more
Another
than
thing
people give it.
too, there's like this weird culture on TikTok where like if you don't take gear, you're somehow a pussy. And it's the most backwards thing ever. Like I'm not one of those guys that gets so bent out of shape when I see dudes on gear. Like I don't envy them. I don't get jealous. Like even sometimes like I still praise their work if they're in the gym hitting it hard. And like there's some roided guys that I respect more than natural guys that train like wusses. So
Sure.
it's not to say that like, but then there's some of those guys that go, oh, any guy that's natural is automatically a wuss. It's like, bro, like there's
So
some
I've got
crazy natural guys, bro. Like there's this one dude, Andrew Richard. He's like a 380 pound, like he's basically just he's like 5'9", 380. He's like a walking like square of like muscle. I mean, and fat too, because that's just what it takes to do that naturally, right? He hit a 440 OHP. And now
oh
those
my
TikTok
God.
guys, are they gonna walk up to him and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's a pussy because he's natural"? It's like they don't know what they're
Is
saying. Like
is Kyriakos the most muscular man on planet Earth?
I don't know. We'll have to see. That cut's gonna go crazy.
Do you think if he would cut down, would he be like bigger than Big Rabby?
I don't know if he'd be bigger than Big Rammy, but he'd be pretty freaking huge, man. Like a lot of those guys that they're natural, they get like super fat, they get super strong. Like they cut down and they look almost like they're not natural anymore. So something to think about. Maybe we need to like giga bulk.
Yeah, maybe we need to start doing those Zercher shrugs, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna go that far. Dude, that's another thing I wanted to touch on too. A lot of people that like there's some people that are very strong at those odd lifts, and that I respect. Like dudes that can do the crazy like one arm, all that, like an Atlas
Yeah,
power shrug type guy. That I
yeah, yeah,
respect.
yeah.
But like I see a lot of dudes that like they start getting an ego because they can Zercher squat like 135. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like a cover up to be like, oh, well, I don't care how much my back squat is. Like, and meanwhile, he's back squatting 225 for like 5 reps. You know what I mean? And then they think like,
Once
oh, because I Zercher shrug, like I'm doing it for the difficult. It's like, yeah, well, it's not that difficult yet. It's 135.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they do it as like a cover up to be like, oh, I'm not even doing those traditional lifts, so you can't compare me to anything. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like deep down that's kind of what it is. Or they're just trying to like hop on a trend or whatever. But I think some of it is like from insecurity of being weak on like traditional lifts. Not for the super strong guys that do that though. That's a whole different story.
Let's I think that's pretty good for the first Natty Talk podcast. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Well, before we close off, since we didn't really talk about you much, do you just quickly want to like maybe plug your YouTube channel or maybe just introduce yourself quickly, give us a flex or something, you know, just to so people know who's been talking shit here the whole time with me.
All right, so my name's Aidan Insua. I got a YouTube. It's just Aidan Insua. My best lifts are 315 for 2 Larson press on bench. 565 deadlift that I just hit recently, so more PRs are going to come soon on that. I recently hit a 405 ATG pause squat when I was 12 pounds lighter. And now I'm pretty much doing bodybuilding, but you know, sometimes I like to just test where I'm at. And sometimes, dude, like only bodybuilding and then just doing a little bit of strength, like the strength goes up more than when I was focusing on it with like a powerlifting program. So I've found that very interesting. My deadlift has been going up just from doing RDLs, so.
Yeah, it's those RDLs, bro.
Stuff.
I'm telling you, they've unlocked something in you.
Yeah, they corrected some sort of like weakness or mental barrier I had or something. It's crazy.
And can we just comment on like how badly you're mogging me right now? I mean, I look like a fucking skinny dial here with my tiny
Look at the
arms
bicep.
compared to this absolutely hulk of a man that I'm talking to.
His bicep mogs mine though, so it's okay.
I need better lighting, you know? I need this overhead lighting.
You need this specific fan I have here.
Yeah. I'm feeling absolutely mogged, bro. But thank you very much for doing this.
Thanks,
this was very cool. I really enjoyed having you on. Aidan is a very good friend of mine. He's been watching my YouTube channel since I had like 100 subscribers or something. So he's been here from the very beginning, supporting me all along the way and really helping me out. And you know, I look at him kind of as a mentor. I hope one day to reach his level of greatness. So guys, make sure to check out Aidan's channel, and he's a really cool guy. He's absolutely jacked, and I'm sure you'll enjoy watching his videos. And I hope he makes more videos where we get to hear his little bits of wisdom, because he made one of those, but we haven't had any since. So get on that, Aidan. All right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, the Natty Talk podcast, episode 1 with Aidan Insua, signing off. Thank you guys for watching.